Okay, two short simonim. Tov Yud Aleph. Misha hoya b'mizrach beisai. Someone is on the east of his house, basada, and he happens to be in a field. Va'omer l'shluch, and he makes a shliach. He says to the shliach, la'orev lo b'marav, to make an eruv to the marav, to the west. Im nasan ha'eruv meholol lebeisa b'inyan shehu rochak mimenu yosem alpayim. If he, the shliach, goes and makes the eruv more than 2,000 amas from where the person is, from where the mishaleach is, and the house is within 2,000 amas, ha'eruv eina klum, the eruv is ineffective, and he will just have left the shvisa of his house. In other words, his house is over here. This guy, the mishaleach, is in a field to the mizrach, to the east of his house, and he says to a shliach on Friday morning, let's say, please can you make an eruv for me, b'ma'arov, on the west. And this guy messes up, the shliach messes up and makes it 2,000, more than 2,000 amas away from where the mishaleach is. So it may be within 2,000 amas of the house, but it's more than 2,000 amas of where the mishaleach is, and therefore the eruv is ineffective because the person can't get there, can't get to the place of the eruv on Shabbos. And therefore what happens is, the default is, he'll have the shvisa of his house. The mokum shvisa is the house, which is within 2,000 of amas of where he is, and then he'll have 2,000 amas from the house as normal. Now, concludes the simon. If, however, this shliach makes the eruv within 2,000 amas of where he is in the mizrach, then that works. Even though his house is also within 2,000 amas, the mokum shvisa will be the eruv and not his house. So, just to summarize, before we do the Mishnah Berurah, a man is in the field on the mizrach of his house, and he asks the shliach to make an eruv for him. In the first case, he makes the eruv more than 2,000 amas away from where he is, ineffective. And therefore the default will be, the shvisa will be where his house is, which was within 2,000 amas of where he's standing. But if, however, he makes the shliach makes the eruv to the ma'arov, but within 2,000 amas where the guy is standing, so then the eruv is effective, and that will be his mokum shvisa and not his house. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Sivkot Aleph. B'mizrach beisa b'sodeh rotzolema. Shahoy b'sodeh b'mizrach. He happens to be in a field to the east of his house. B'mizrach beisa be'es shekidish olav hayom, when Shabbos comes in. V'omer l'shlucha, and he says to the shliach m'ba'ijom on Friday, ha'eruv is make an eruv for me more than 2,000. Make an eruv for me on the ma'arav, and this guy does it more than 2,000 amas away. He messes up. Eina klum. The eruv is ineffective. The kivin to kiddush lavayom rochak me eruv. When Shabbos came in, the eruv was placed more than 2,000 amas away from where he is. Yosem alpayim nimtza she'en yochel elech v'litlei. The guy can't go and access it. For kivin to eina eruv, and since the eruv is ineffective, memela nishal al shvisa speisei. The default is that he will have the shvisa of his house. Now, the Mishnah Berurah has got a bit of a problem. For loy domin siman tov tes sif yud aleph. What about the previous case where we had a couple of simonim ago, where we said lo yozes mimkoimai, he can't move his place? Why don't we say the same thing with this fellow? He should stay b'mizrach in the soda. Maybe he shouldn't move from his place. How come that's different? There we were talking about a case where he was traveling, and it wasn't happy. He wasn't happy to be koine shvisa in his place. But if the fellow is either in his home or within the tchum of his home, like in our simon, certainly it will be preferred for him to be koine shvisa in his house, in a situation where his eruv will not be effective. So that's one reason. The reason here is something quite different. Here the rationale is that the shliach messed up. He placed the eruv more than 2,000 amas away from where the mishaleach is. And therefore the mishaleach can say to the shliach, I asked you to do something for my benefit and not for my detriment. And therefore the shlichus is undone, and it's as if you didn't make an error for me at all. Therefore, according to this second reason of even if he was traveling, We say that the shlichus was ineffective, and he doesn't lose the shvisa of his place, and he will actually be able to have 2,000 amas from that place where he was in Erev Shabbos. In other words, there are two reasons going on over here. We said, how come? We said lo yozuz mimkoimai in the case of Toph in 2 simonim ago, and here we're saying he gets 2,000 amas from his home. So the first reason is because there we were talking about a case where he was traveling, and therefore he was lo nichele to have 2,000 amas from where he was traveling, where he happened to be at that moment. Mashenkein here, he was within the tchum of his home, so the default is that he's going to take on the tchum of his home if the shlichus was ineffective. The second reason is you can say I set you up as a shliach to benefit me, not to detriment me, and therefore the shlichus will be ineffective, and therefore it doesn't make a difference if he's traveling or if he happens to be b'mizrach in the Sodeh within 2,000 amas. Either way, he can undo the shlichus, and therefore the nafkamina would be if he's traveling. According to the first reason, he doesn't want to be kohen the shvisa from where he's traveling, and therefore he have to be lo yozuz mimkoimei. But according to the second reason, we'll say no. Even when he's traveling, if you did something which was not for my betterment, not for my benefit, then we can undo the shlichus. Good. Siv Cotton Dala, just to finish the simon. Kono shvisa, that's talking about a case where, similar case, the second case, he's b'mizrach ha'ir, the house is over here, and he says to the shliach, make an eruv to the ma'arov. But there, it was within 2,000 amas. So then that works, and that's going to be kohen shvisa over there, and not with his house. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Shahari also shlichusa, because the shliach did what he was meant to do. V'nechshav loy ha'alpayim mishon. And it's considered 2,000 amas from the place where the shliach made the eruv. Okay, that's the end of Tov Yud Aleph. Next simon, Tov Yud Beis. Din ha'cholik eruvay. Another situation where the shliach messed up. Eruv chatzi hayoyim harishin l'ruach tzofan v'ashen l'ruach dorim. Or here, he's not a shliach, he himself messed up. He, for some reason, got confused, and he said, for half of Shabbos, my eruv will be to the north, and half will be to the south. Shetor, he made a mistake. He thought that was an acceptable thing to do. Or he said to two people, make an eruv for me, and echod eruv olav l'tzof, and one guy did it to the north, ve'echod l'dor, and one to the south. If each one did it just up to 2,000 amas away, so then the mishalech is stuck. Lo yozuz mimkoimei she'ein yodua eiz eruv konolo, because we don't know which eruv was effective. And therefore, the situation is this. Excuse me. That if I said to two people, make for me an Eruv, and one did it to the Tzof and one did it to the Dorim, 2,000 amas that way, 2,000 amas that way, so we don't know which one is a good Eruv. So if the one to the Sofan is good, so therefore I can only go 2,000 amas either side of that one, and therefore I can't go to the south of my house at all. And if the one to the south was good, 2,000 amas to the south, then I can go 2,000 amas further south and 2,000 amas back to my house, but I can't go north at all. So therefore, lo yozuz mimkoim, I am stuck. But if they didn't do it 2,000, they did it less than 2,000, then I'm limited to the common ground between the two Eruvim. Ketzad, how so? Each one did it 1,000 amas from my house. So for example, I'm in my house in the middle, and I said to two people, please make an eruv for me. One guy did it 1,000 that way to the Mizrach, and one did 1,000 that way to the Ma'arav. So we don't know which one is good. So if this one is good, I've got 2,000 amas beyond, that's 3,000 amas from my house, and then 2,000 amas the other way, which is 1,000 to my house plus another 1,000. So I'm limited 1,000 amas to the Ma'arav. But if this one is good, then again I can go 2,000 amas beyond, that's 3,000 the other way, or 2,000 amas that way. So essentially I'm limited to the 1,000 amas each way. Nos echod le-mizrach, but if one guy did it 1,000 amas to the Mizrach, v'hasheni le-marav l'soif chamesh me'os, same situation, just slightly different numbers. This guy did it to the Marav 500 amas, so then holich le-marav elef mikoyach mashashia ha'erev Mizrach, I can go 1,000 amas to the Ma'arav, because if this one is a good Eruv, I can go 2,000 amas further east, or I can go 2,000 amas to the Ma'arav, which is 1,000 amas to my house. So I can go there. But when it comes to the Mizrach, I can go 1,005 me'os mikoyach mashashia lo ha'erev sheb'Ma'arav. If this one is correct, which was 500 amas away, so then I can go 2,500 amas that way, which is 2,000 amas that way, which is 2,500 amas from my house, or 2,000 amas from this ma'ar of Eruv, which is 500 to my house, and another 1,500. So if this one is good, I would go 1,500 amas that way, and if that one was good, I can go much more. So either way, I can go 1,500 amas. That's the common ground in that situation. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Aleph Hoyosov She'efsha. So this is going on the beginning of the Siman, where I mistakenly thought I could make an Eruv, half of Shabbos that way, half of Shabbos another way. That's obviously nonsense. You can't make an Eruv for half of Shabbos. Since you put them in two places, and you intended both of them to work, for achasu to consolate, and only one can work, and you don't know which one. You impose upon him the chumras of each one. So then, in a situation where I said to two people make an eruv, and one did 2,000 amas one way, and one did 2,000 amas the other way, I'm stuck in the middle. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you've gotten base. And you can't even have the default of your townspeople, because that's not your intention. Your intention was to be koine shvisa at the point of your eruv, not in the place of your town. You don't know which eruv is effective. The eruv to the south is going to be mafsid me 2,000 amas to the north. The eruv hatzofen mafsidu al paim shel darim, and therefore lo yozes mim koma, I'm stuck. But if he does it 1,000 amas each way, then I've got 1,000 amas common ground to be not demonavshach, because either way, says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Gimel, me'eze erev shekana, whichever one worked, yeshle al paim amo, he has 2,000 amas from each eruv. The kan ein me eruv zel al paim, and there's only 2,000 amas in between the two eruvim. For chutz eruvin ein yochel aleches afilu psiachas, but beyond these two eruvin, I can't go even a step. To kol echad neima shema ha'eruv connected konolei the kol kan al paim. So in this situation, again, if he's in the house in the middle, he says to two people, make an eruv for me. One did 1,000 that way, one did 1,000 that way. So if this one is correct, I can go 2,000 amas that way and 2,000 amas that way, up to 1,000. And if this one is correct, I can go 2,000 amas that way and 2,000 amas that way. But either way, therefore you're stuck into the middle area, the common ground, which will be from your house 1,000 amas one way, 1,000 amas the other way, and I can't go beyond that at all. I'm limited to those 2,000 amas. And Ad Kan Tov Yud Beis.